All right, I'm gonna get started. Perfect. All right. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to the UW Days Minecraft UW Minecraft student Q&A panel. My name is Esme or Naru, and I will be moderating today. So I'd like you all to please send your questions you have for our panelists into the YouTube stream chat, and I will be checking that chat and reading out your questions. I'll send that link one more time here into the Minecraft chat. All right, and then I will have our panelists walk out and sit down now. And then I'll have them introduce themselves. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start the furthest from me with Quant. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Jason. I'm currently a sophomore majoring in informatics, and feel free to ask me any questions about UW, the application process, classes, and more.
Perfect, thank you. And then Mackenzie, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie. I'm a junior and I'm an Earth and Space Sciences major. I'm also in the honors program, and I'm a Seattle native, so feel free to ask me anything about UW, Seattle, hiking, the honors program, anything like that.
Perfect, thank you. And finally, Edge.
Hi, I'm Declan, and I'm a senior in computer science. If anyone has any computer science questions, I am more than happy to give advice or anything about the computer science major here. And I'm also from in-state, from Eastern Washington.
Thank you so much. Okay, so again, like I said, send your questions into the YouTube chat if you'd like. I also have a list of questions here that I will start off with, but I'll go ahead and prioritize any chat questions I get. Perfect, okay. So the first question that I have is, for each of you, why did you decide to come to the UW? And again, we'll go in the same order, so we'll start with Quant, if that's all right.
So I'm an in-state student here in Washington, so the University of Washington was the best choice for me in terms of tuition, prestige, and in general job opportunities because um, we're connected to Microsoft, Amazon, etc. So there's a lot of there's a lot of potential to be made from getting a major here at UW, and that's why I came to this school.
Cool, thank you. And then Mackenzie, why did you come to the UW?
Yeah, so I chose UW mostly because of my major. I really liked that the ESS program is in the College of the Environment, and so I could kind of keep that environmental science focus while getting my STEM degree. And I'm also really into the outdoor recreation around here. I'm part of the hiking club as well, so you can come by my booth later if you want to talk about hiking. And so I wanted to stay in the Pacific Northwest so I could go hiking and stuff like that.
Awesome, thank you. And then Edge, what about you?
For me, it was a pretty easy choice since I got directly admitted into CS, and it was an in-state school. Since UW is one of the best computer science schools in the country, and I thought I would like the big city. Pretty much, yeah. It just ended up being pretty easy decision for me, and I'm glad I made the decision to come here.
Cool, thank you. Okay, we have a question from chat here, which I think is directed both at Edge and Quantum. So the question is, what was the hardest part of being a CS major or an informatics major? So I'll have Quant answer first. What's the hardest part for you for being an informatics major?
Definitely the application process itself, because for both CS and informatics, getting high grades in the readouts doesn't guarantee your admission. You can get a 4.0 in CSE 142 and 143, but it all comes down to not just your grades, but also how you present yourself as an applicant. So writing a very solid essay is just as equally important as your grades, and that can be very stressful for many applicants. So I would say that's one aspect that makes it hard about applying the application process itself. And in the major, I guess this applies for any major in general. You also have to balance between your course load and getting internships as well. So that's also the hard part as well.
Cool. Okay. Informative. Thank you. And then, Edge, what about you? What is the hardest part of being a CS major? I'm sure there's a lot, but yeah.
I would say the workload, if you take a lot of CS classes at once, it's definitely challenging. I can't speak to the application process, although like my friends, I know a lot of people who have ended up transferring out because they couldn't get into CS. So the application process is definitely really challenging. But in terms of the actual classwork, I would say just if you take more than two CS courses at a time, like I wouldn't do it. Some people have take 3 CS courses at a time, and yeah, I would just say make sure to balance your schedule because CS courses are tough.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cool. All right. So I will, yes, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in YouTube chat. But yes, I'll go on to our set questions for now. So my second question that I have for you guys is, what do you love about UW, and what are some things that you dislike about UW? And again, we'll start down the line. So, Quant, what about you?
So I love the campus, the professors, the people around here. I've never had. Let's start with the campus first. First of all, it's a really beautiful campus. Every building is unique. You could probably go a whole day exploring, and you still probably won't be able to visit every building here. It's just a huge campus. And professors, I've never had a single bad professor here. They're all accommodating. They all care about you, and they really want you to succeed at the school. And the students here are also great. I've had many classes where we get to do group projects in, and everyone here pulls their own weight, and they're all trying to succeed here as well. So, yeah, this is what I love about UW.
Cool. Is there anything you dislike, or it's all perfect?
Again, this is it varies. If you're trying to get into a STEM major, the application process here can be brutal. But if that's not something that you're interested in, then it doesn't really apply to you. But that's my main gripe with you, though.
Perfect. Thank you. And Mackenzie, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about UW. There are very few things I would say I dislike, but I think in particular, similarly, I love the campus. The campus is gorgeous, really all times of year, even in the rain. I love all of the things to do like around campus, just both like UW things to do, like going to the Waterfront Activity Center or going to a football game, during normal years. All kinds of events are happening on campus all the time, but then also there's always something to do in Seattle as well. I also love all of the people at UW and like opportunities for research. All the classes are super cool. I think there's just like so much to get involved in. There's really like you're able to find the best thing for you. I wouldn't honestly say there's anything I dislike about UW that's like unique to UW. I mean, college just in general is hard. So I think, the things that I would say I dislike about UW are kind of relevant for most colleges. Just, hard course load. Sometimes professors can be a little misunderstanding, but overall, I think I like just about everything.
Totally, yeah, it's a really big campus, so super busy and stuff. And Edge, what about you?
Yeah, I pretty much I like everything here too. I mean, the only thing I would say that I dislike is the rain.
Oh yeah.
Some people, if you are not used to it raining a lot, then it can get kind of depressing with the dark and the rain in the winter months. So I mean that kind of sucks, but there's not really anything we can do about that
Totally.
besides, just like be social and yeah, just like I don't know, don't be a loner in your room. I think that's how that's my philosophy anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Also, get a sad lamp, seasonal effective disorder lamp. They help. But I have another question from chat here, which I think is the most important question. It's from Purple that says, in your opinion, what is the best place to eat on the Ave? Quantum, what do you think? What are your favorite places on the Ave?
Okay, so I'm kind of weird because I never wanted the app that many times, but from what little places I've been there, I would say probably Aladdin's and Xi'an Noodles. Those are both pretty solid places on the app. But I'm not the right person to ask for this kind of question.
That's okay. Those are good places. Mackenzie, do you know what this is? Kenzie? Oops. Hold on. Okay.
I'll
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
go.
Sorry.
Okay, so for me, there's a bunch of places I like, but I guess my top ones, I like Cafe on the Ave. It's like a cafe you can study there, and then you can also they have like breakfast food all day, and I like breakfast food, so I like that. But just in general, it's pretty reasonable prices, and you get a decent amount of food. Um, and then I also like Latin American food. So there's two places on the Ave that I really like. Guanaco's Tacos. It's a little bit off the Ave, so if you just are strictly on the Ave, you may never see it. Um, but if you Google it, you can figure out where it is. It's just like a block off the Ave. And then there's another place called Venezuelan Arepas. And those are probably my two favorite places on the Ave.
Oh, I gotta try both of those. Thank you. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna move on to the next question I have, which is, do you have any tips for incoming freshmen on how to survive an online quarter? Quant, what do you think?
So yeah, having motivation to pull for an online quarter can be rough. In general, I would say try and balance between like try and stay active during this quarter. Don't just like sit in front of your screen for an extended period of time. Try and get some exercise. Uh, go out for a walk. Play games. Just take a break because it can be very exhausting to just sit in the screen and watch a professor uh, go through the slides for hours. So yeah, those are my tips.
Thank you. I think Kenzie might be having some technical difficulties still, so I'm gonna skip to Edge for now.
Yeah, I would say things I learned from spring quarter. It's definitely important to stay socially like involved, especially if you're a freshman. Like, try like join clubs or try to make friends in class. I don't know how easy it will be, given that everything's online, but I think it's hugely important to maintain some kind of friend group, to either study in your classes or just to hang out, um, just to make sure that yeah, just so you can have some fun. Like, I know it's going to be hard with the online quarter and stuff, but there's plenty of things you can do online with your friends, like playing Minecraft, so
Totally, yeah. Join YouTube Minecraft. We're all online, or look at any of the 40 RSOs outside. Yeah, cool. Thank you. The next question I have is more general about being a freshman. If you remember, what's it like being a freshman at UW? Quant, what do you think?
So yeah, I would say when I was a freshman, it was pretty intimidating. I didn't know what classes to take, um, how I was going to adjust to the large campus, huge amount of people around here. But I would say this might not apply to everyone, but you will eventually get used to it. If you try to be sociable and you try to like go out your comfort zone, making friends at this campus isn't uh, that hard. You can join RSOs. There's the IMA. There's many ways that you can make friends. Not during the pandemic, obviously, but
Yeah.
when I was a freshman, I had those opportunities to make friends on campus as a freshman.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Mackenzie, is your mic working now?
Yes, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yay! Yes, I can.
Cool.
How was being a freshman for you?
Yeah, being a freshman was super exciting. There's just so much to do. I loved, the first week during dog days. There's just like, so much to get involved in, but it was also a little overwhelming because, for a lot of people, it's like you're away from home and there's a lot going on, which is exciting, but also overwhelming. And getting used to classes can be definitely tricky, and campus is so big. So walking to class is, figuring out the lay of campus can be hard. But I think overall it was definitely exciting. And I would I would encourage you to embrace like being excited about campus and like excited about college rather than, scared or overwhelmed. I would, be happy and excited that you're starting college instead of letting the stress overwhelm you.
That's solid. Thank you. And Edge, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say as a freshman, one of the biggest challenges was like establishing a friend group. It takes time to find friends, but like if you don't find friends immediately, don't be scared that you'll never find friends in college. Just keep putting yourself out there, and uh, you'll find people that you vibe with. And don't be afraid if like the first people you meet you don't vibe with. Just move on. Like it, there's plenty of people that go to UW. You'll find people uh, that you like and you want to hang out with more. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing for me.
Totally. There's like 40,000 people here, so you'll find your people. But yeah. Next up on here, I have what does a typical day or week look like for you as a student? Quan?
So my typical schedule before we shifted to online was go to my morning classes. Afterwards, either eat lunch or go to one of the libraries to study. And then in the afternoon or evening, I would head to the IMA to either swim at the pool, run, and after that, I would probably just take the bus home, study again because I live off campus. I can't really speak for dorms here, but there's if you guys feel the need to stay home to save money, go for it because you won't be missing out too much on college life with the pandemic going on. So feel free to make the choice to go and live at home if you have that option.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, totally. Dorms can be expensive. Mackenzie, what about you? What does a typical day or week look like for you?
Yeah, so I like to keep myself pretty busy. So I would not necessarily recommend that my schedule is what your schedule should be like. But back last year before the pandemic started, I was living on campus, and so I would wake up. I'm kind of an early riser, so 8:30s didn't really bother me. So I would typically have an 8:30 in the morning. And I'd go to class, and depending on what my schedule looked like, I also have an on-campus job and I do research. So I would, between classes, I would either go to work for however many hours I had between class, or for my research, I get to work at the Burke Museum. So I would work at the Burke Museum for a few hours. And then usually I had like an afternoon class I would go to, so then I'd go to class, and then I would go back to work until about 5 o'clock. When all the buildings start to close. And then I would go back to my dorm room and do my homework. Or if it was like a Friday or something, I would see what my friends were up to, maybe, go see a movie, go to a party, something like
that. Oof, you're busy, but kudos.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't take that as advice, especially if you're a freshman, because it's stressful. And now that it's even worse during the pandemic because I'm a bit of a workaholic. So
yeah, well. Edge, what about you? Edge? Hold
Shoot,
on.
I was muted, my bad.
It's
okay. So for me, the average day, I wake up depending on the day. If I have an 8:30 some quarters, then I usually try to schedule my first class somewhere between 8:30 and 10:30 or 11:30. Just so I will actually get up at a decent time. I find that like if my first class isn't till the afternoon, then I just end up wasting the morning away. Um, so I would say I try to use the classes as like motivation to actually get up and do stuff. So if that's something you struggle with, then that's something I would suggest to do. But Then I'll go to my classes, and in between classes, I might do some homework. I might not. Depends on what I'm doing. But I try to stay on campus the entire day before I go back to my dorm. Um, and then once I um, am finished with classes for the day, I'll either keep working on campus or I'll go back to my dorm. But then I'll play basketball in the evenings if I have time. I used to go to the IMA almost every day uh, if I didn't have too much homework to do. But yeah, the biggest thing is just trying to not procrastinate too much and make sure you get your exercise too.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy to like wake up and stuff. But I have another question here from the chat. This one is for Mackenzie, and Purple is asking, what is your research about?
Oh, good question. So I'm working for a lab called the Stromberg Lab, and basically my lab researches paleobotany, so plant fossils. And so I'm working on a project currently that is about the evolution of grasslands on Earth. So what I do up at the Burke Museum is I take like really high def photos of all of my little grass seed specimens. I'm basically studying the evolution of how grass seeds disperse. So if you want any if you have any questions about the research, like how do you get into a research lab, something like that, I'm happy to answer those questions too.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, definitely let me know if you have any more questions and I'll read them out to her. But for now, we have a question about the advising office, just advising in general at UW, which is how accessible or helpful do you find advising? We can go down the line again. So, Quant, what about you?
So I can't speak for pre-major advising, but I can speak for in-major advising. When you get into your major, definitely take advantage of your in-major advisors. They will provide you with a ton of career resources, such as like reviewing your resume. Um, they can provide you with uh, referrals and other stuff. So yeah, they do a great job of getting you connected with the industry, and there's something that you should definitely take advantage of.
Thank you. Mackenzie, what about you?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I can't speak to pre-major advisors either, but my department advisor is like very essential to my life in college. There have been a few times where I had to take two classes in the same quarter, but they were at the same time, and I was like totally freaking out because I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And my advisor like completely calmed me down and was able to figure it out and assured me that I would graduate on time and all of that stuff. So, and they also, at least my advisor, is totally someone I feel like I could talk to about other issues, like I'm struggling academically or socially or something like that. They're also there to help you with that sort of thing. I would also recommend that there are advisors for like a bunch of random things. So kind of tying back into research a little bit, there are advisors in the undergrad research department that can help you find research positions, write your emails, that sort of thing. So there are a lot of different types of advisors on campus. So there are lots of people to go to if you have questions or need help.
Definitely, yeah. I've cried in my advisor's office a lot, so they're good. But Ed, what about you?
I'm a bad example. I actually have never gone and talked to the advisors. Besides,
Really?
I did do drop-in advising a few times, just to have quick questions answered. But they are very receptive from like what my friends tell me, and I probably should be using them more. But I mean, I guess because I was already in my major and like all the degree requirements are online and stuff, so I have just been, I guess, doing all of the courses I need to complete my major, and I haven't really been utilizing the advisors. I just haven't seen the need to, I guess.
Totally, that's fair. I have another question here from the YouTube chat for all of you guys, which is what RSOs are you guys in? And do you have any suggestions for what RSOs to join? Quant, do you have any?
So I'm gonna shout out to my own RSO, the Husky Swim Club. because if you guys like to swim recreationally or competitively, it's a great club if you're interested in swimming. Um, Outside my own RSO, I'm also in a bunch of different Max RSOs, such as UGA, which is the Undergraduate Association for Informatics, and I'm also in Dubstech, which organizes hackathons for the whole campus. So yeah, those are some RSOs that you can also look into if you're interested in the major.
Oh, thank you. Mackenzie, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm in the hiking club. I'm actually the co-executive director, like co-president person of hiking club, which I definitely, shout out, recommend that you come on a hike with us before your time at UW is up, just because like how can you be in Washington State for 4 years and not go on a hike is my opinion, but it's a lot of fun. We organize all the logistics and everything, so all you have to do is show up and pitch in a little bit for the gas fee. Although we're not entirely sure if we're going to be running hikes this fall because of Coronas, but in the future, hopefully, definitely come on a hike with us. I'm also in Geo Club, which is basically an RSO for Earth and Space Science majors. So I would recommend, I don't know if there are many clubs on campus that are like kind of major specific like Geo Club is, but I would definitely recommend if there is one for your major, then you should join it because it's helped me get connected to the faculty and other students in my major. And kind of, talking about the stuff that I'm interested in going into and kind of building those connections. So since I'm in charge of an RSO, that's kind of all I have time for. But yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And what about you, Edge?
For me, this year I don't think I'll be doing any RSOs officially, but in the past I did just for fun. There's an indoor soccer club called Futsal Club, and they play soccer in the IMA every week, twice a week. And then I also did more related to my major, a club called Husky Adapt, and they specialize in modifying toys so that disabled children can use them. Um, and that they have various positions from they're looking for engineers mostly for design projects, but then also anyone can just hop in and help modify toys. They have workshops. I don't know what they're going to be doing this year, obviously with COVID, but if anyone wants more information about that, basically anyone can join and you help modify toys with a tutorial. Somebody will teach you how to do it and make them add like an easy to push button or stuff like this, just uh, so that disabled children can use them with all sorts of disabilities.
That's awesome, cool, thank you. Okay, we have about 5 more minutes, so we only have time for this one last question, which is for Quant, swimming related. Matthew wants to know what stroke you specialize in.
So freestyle for sure. I'm decent at backstroke, but my breaststroke is pretty bad. So it's always going to be freestyle for me.
Cool, thank you. All right, thank you, Edge, Mackenzie, and Quant for being our panelists today. We will have 3 more panels after this. Right now we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll have our next group come up. So stick around if you want to see that. Next up, we're going to have a business major, a math major, and a psychology and linguistics major. So if you're interested in that, stick around. But yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second student Q&A panel of the day. Everyone take your seats in Meet and tune into the YouTube link. And we'll get started. I'll have the panelists walk on now. So yeah, hi, my name is Esme or Naru. I'll be moderating this panel today. I'd like you all to send the questions you have for the panelists to the YouTube stream chat. Here is the link right now. There you go. I sent it into the Minecraft chat, and I'll be reading the questions from there. I also have a preset list of questions as well. Yeah, I will start off with having our panelists introduce themselves, starting furthest from me. So first off, let's have Snow.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Sue, and I'm an upcoming senior in the Foster Business School. I'm majoring in marketing and IS, so you can ask me any questions about Foster classes or anything about UW in general.
Cool, thank you so much. And Shine, what about you?
I'm a senior in mathematics and I'm minoring in classical studies. I am an officer of like a lot of clubs, so if you have questions about clubs, I can answer those.
And Izzy, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Izzy, and I'm a psychology and linguistics major. I'm a senior, and I'm also a Bible study leader in the RSO InterVarsity.
Cool, thank you. So I'll start off with the first question we have prepared, which is, why did you decide to come to the University of Washington? Snow, what about you?
So many of my friends and family went to UW, and also I was directly admitted to Foster, so I decided UW was like the best choice.
Cool, thank you. Shine, what about you?
I am an in-state student, and of all the schools, UW is probably the best one, especially considering I like to do things that are sort of comp sci related, although not actually in the department. And so UW has a very strong comp sci department to support that kind of thing.
Thank you. And Izzy, what about you?
Yeah, I came to UW because I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas, so I just wanted a change in scenery, and I love looking at photos of the Pacific Northwest, so it was like super eye-opening. And University of Washington is a great school with a really good research institution, so yeah, that was my main point.
Sweet, thank you. All right. Next question is, what are some things that you love about UW, and are there any things that you dislike? Same order. Snow, what about you?
I would say, well, as mentioned earlier, the campus is beautiful, and most of the professors are actually really helpful and they actually care about your education. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Cool, thank you. And Shine?
UW is a research school, has a lot of professors who are doing interesting things alongside teaching, and so you can just talk to professors about what they're working on. It's really neat.
Really, yeah. Is there anything you dislike?
Not
No, that's
super.
perfect.
I'm not a super big fan of the like competitive major system and the way that introductory classes or weed out courses, they're kind of stressful. It gets way better during like the later years. Once you're in a major, it's no longer super stressful.
Really, yeah. True. And what about you, Izzy?
So I'll just start off with what I dislike first. We can end on a happy note. But I think coming from Texas and moving to Seattle, it was a huge shift because social norms are pretty different. So Seattle freeze is a thing, and like in Texas, people smile at each other and say good morning to strangers. So like moving up here, I was like, whoa, people don't make eye contact everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Do that. So yeah, it was a big difference in social norms, and like making friends in classes was different, but like the mindset of people up here is super open-minded and chill, so that was just really cool. And I think the city can be kind of dangerous sometimes, so it was kind of daunting and going on the Ave. So that's dislikes, but UW in general, I've learned so much. I've grown in so many different ways, made so many friends, met a lot of inspirational people, been able to study abroad, and like kind of grow into more the person you want to be. So I think that this university has a lot more positive than negative, and the negative things help you grow and encounter different aspects of the world.
That's sweet. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Next up, I have the question. Do you have any tips for incoming freshmen on how to survive a quarter online? Snow, what about you?
So I took summer quarter online and it was kind of rough, but definitely like make some friends in your online classes. I had some people who like messaged me on Instagram. It's kind of weird, but like actually became friends with one of the my classmates in that class, and it's just hard being in classes where you don't know anyone. So I think it would be pretty nice to get to know your classmates.
Cool. Thank you. Shine, what do you think?
Generally, yeah, it's really hard finding motivation when you don't have people to like see in person also doing the same kind of thing that you're doing. And so you just have to make sure to always like still have the motivation to do stuff like attend classes and work real hard on your homework. That's the one thing to just keep up.
Thank you. And Izzy?
Could you repeat the question real quick?
Oh yeah, sorry. It's just, do you have any tips for incoming freshmen on how to get through a quarter online?
Okay, yeah. So I also took online summer courses, and during the spring, I'm going to be a TA this year too, and so my
Ooh.
main goal is to like reach out to all the online students and know that they're and like be a resource to help them find clubs and whatever. But I think a main thing is just don't hesitate to get to know your peers and your professor. Like, just email them. So many of them are really understanding right now due to everything being online. I think their hearts are very open to the situation, and they want you to know that you're accepted and you will learn here, and this is a place for you to grow and that you're not alone. So feel free to reach out to your TAs and your professors. They're here to help you. They want you to learn and have a good, positive first year experience. Yeah, and just like arrange your time. Things will be different. I feel like you might have more time online, and then all your assignments are on the computer, so take breaks, go on walk. But yeah, we'll get through this, and hopefully by spring we'll be online so we can all be together.
Cool. Thank you. Next question is about the food places nearby on the Ave. So in your guys' opinion, what are the best places on the Ave? Snow?
First of all, there's like a lot of boba places. The newest one, Timeless Tea, is really good. Think tea is also good. I really like Red Pepper and Chimek. Chimek has like the best chicken wings, and they have so many flavors. Yeah.
Nice. I need to try them. Thank you. Shine, what about you?
So my go-to is usually Aladdin's. There's an Aladdin's that's like kind of on the south side of the Ave, but there's also, if you keep going way north, there's a second Aladdin's that serves, I feel like, better food. I also go
that one.
to
Sorry.
I also go to Tanvi, which I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's a great place to get like pho. There's also udon, which is a little ways up the Ave for udon.
Thank you. Those are all classics. And Izzy, do you have any faves on the Ave?
Yeah, so for bubble tea, I really like Wow bubble tea. And there's a couple restaurants that I feel like people don't go to very often, but there's a Pupuseria, that's an El Salvadorian restaurant, and an Arepa restaurant, which is Venezuelan food. So definitely look out for those. And then really good Korean food, the Myeongdong Sundae restaurant. I think, gosh, I think that just means Myeongdong tofu stew, but it's a
Ooh.
restaurant downstairs. And I also love the Bob. They're run by this really sweet Korean family, and the food is super authentic.
Oh, you should send me those later. I need to try all of them. But yeah, thank you. The next question I have is again about being a freshman. So, what was it like being a freshman at the UW? Snow?
Yeah, at first I was kind of lost because it's like I never met so many people from like all over the world. But then
Mhm.
I later I realized like everyone's like actually really nice and open. I actually met one of my best friends from the freshman orientation. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Cheyenne?
So I did running start, which is like dual enrollment, and so I basically came in with all the credits. So I didn't really have much of a freshman year. I kind of had a like my first year was like a sophomore year essentially. Basically for me, freshman year was getting to find the like clubs that I am in now and meeting the people that I am friends with now.
Cool. Thank you. And Izzy, what about you?
My freshman year was really exciting because I came into a whole new state and I didn't know anybody. So I told myself I had to be a big extrovert, and I literally talked to every single club during the
Nice.
RSO meeting on Red Square. And I joined a bunch of random clubs. I ended up falling in love with this international friendship house where for the first time I met a bunch of international students, which is what helped me want to decide learning other languages.
Really?
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so I just started hosting like food nights with them, and we basically like cook food together with all the international students and just help them feel welcomed. But my freshman year was just filled with lots of learning new culture and building friendship, and I lived in the dorms too, so it was just a ton of exploring and
That's awesome.
too, yeah.
And you speak like 5 languages now, right? That's really cool.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm still
Nice.
trying to learn like entire fluency, but yeah, I love learning languages.
Cool. Nice. Well, thank you. Next question I have is, what does a typical day or week look like for you as a student? And I'll start off with Snow.
Usually I try to wake up early and I usually have like around 2 to 3 classes a day. I would try to schedule my classes so that I get like 1 or 2 free weekdays. So like either like Tuesday, Thursday, or like Monday, Wednesday. And then I would go back to my apartment for food and maybe finish up some assignments. After dinner, I would like go to Ode with my friends and take the shuttle home at around like 11. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. What does it look like for you, Cheyenne?
So I usually wake up super early and then I don't have class just by my like weird scheduling until almost noon. So I spend that the entire morning just doing homework or working on projects. I go to class and then once I'm done with that I have club stuff and then I go okay, so before the pandemic I went to the IMA all the time and went bouldering. So that's super fun. I guess
Yeah.
the thing that happens during my week, so I alternate between class and work because I only have class 3 days a week. And on the weekends, I spend a lot of time thinking about my homework, not necessarily like working on it. It's just the way that the math homework is and doing other club stuff. Super important to me to have a good scheduled amount of time to do homework because if I don't dedicate some amount of time on the weekends, I just won't do anything, which is really bad.
Yeah. No, that's solid advice, and you guys are making me want to change my sleep schedule. So nice. But yeah, Izzy, what does your schedule look like typically?
Yeah, so before the pandemic, it was just Monday through Friday, go to about like 2 to 3 classes a day, and then work about 3 hours at UWIT. and then I would sometimes have research later on, and then I would have like Bible study around 7, hang out with friends and stuff. Usually my schedule is super loaded and I wouldn't really have that much like alone time except during studying or on the weekends. But after pandemic and things are still online, I've had a lot of free time for some reason, and I'm spending a lot of time with my family. So it's like I wake up, do my classes, do my work out, hang out with family. And I still do research, but it's not as scheduled. Just go for the flow, do it online. So it's been a lot more free time online for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. That's good though. Yeah, thank you. I have a question from chat actually. Have any of you guys studied abroad? And let me know if have any of you guys studied abroad? Okay. In that case, I would wait until our next panel at 2:50 because we do have someone who has studied abroad and who can talk about the experience.
Okay, I have. I went to Korea.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was just waiting
yeah.
for anyone else to speak up.
No, yeah, totally. Okay, then, yeah, can you tell us about your experience with that?
Yeah, sure. So I went
Cool.
to Yonsei Daehakyo, which is Yonsei University in Seoul, Korea. I
Ooh.
stayed there for about 2.5 months. It was my first time traveling outside of the Americas. But it was awesome. I had already been learning Korean for about 5 months by myself, but going into the country, I was able to truly immerse myself in the language, and I told myself I'm not going to speak a dime of English. I'm going to learn Korean and challenge myself. So I spoke Korean the majority of the time I was there.
Wow.
I lived in the dorms. I had a lot of fun and I did a lot of shopping, went hiking, made a lot of friends from around the world and a lot of Korean friends. And by the end of it, I traveled a bit in Korea, went to Busan and stayed with my friend's family there. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I have another question from the YouTube chat from Ryan, which is, do any of you guys have any favorite classes that you've taken? Snow, what about you?
In terms of like business classes, I would say I really like Management 200 with Todd. That was like a business law class. And then in terms of like non-major classes, let me see. Oh, Psych 210 was really fun.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Nice. Oh, okay. Shine, do you have any?
As far as like in major classes, kind of not really. I mean, I just do all the math I can. As far as out of major classes, I have a classical studies minor, and that's really fun. All classics classes are the best class. Just gotta do it.
Interesting, yeah. Cool. Thank you. And Izzy, do you have any favorite classes?
Yeah, I also recommend Psych 210. Coming from Texas, my sex ed was trash, so I learned so much.
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay, also Psych, I think it was 413, but it was neuroscience of the mind. And oh my gosh, I learned so much about the brain. It's incredible. I highly recommend it. They are working on such thing as brain transplants. And let's see, my other class I really enjoyed was psychology of drugs and behavior. That also is fascinating, and I think everyone should know about that.
Cool, nice. Thank you. Oh, Afro says take history of AA. I think that's Africa, and I'm not sure, but Hist AA 231 to get woke. I'm gonna plug also classes from Arbella Bitchley-Munn. She's an amazing professor. If you want more recommendations, I'll write her name in the chat. And also Professor Sabina Lang. She is a really cool German professor. Cool. But yeah, thank you. Oh, okay. Purple has a really related question to that. In addition to your favorite classes, do you guys have any favorite professors? Snow?
I think I mentioned earlier I really liked. Oh, actually, for this like 210 class, the professor was like really nice. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name.
Nicole McNichols, I think.
Oh yes, yes,
Right?
yes. Yeah. But Todd from the business school was also really nice. His full name is like Todd Bergstrom. Yeah,
Nice. Or just Todd.
yeah.
Nice. Cool. Shine, what about you?
I definitely already mentioned the classic classes. I really enjoyed them, but yeah, the professors in the department are just super cool. They're super nice. They're real chill about just like everything. I don't have a like single
yeah.
professor that I really like or anything like that. Just the entire department's super great.
That's good. Yeah, thank you. Izzy, what about you?
So I really like Lada Bilanyuk. She is like a Russian professor that teaches, or maybe she's Ukrainian, and she teaches anthropology, but she's also like really cool and she's learning Japanese and stuff. She's really fun. And I really like Laura McGarity. She's a linguistics professor. And I'm blanking on one of my other, Jaime Diaz. He's a psychology professor. He's also really good. Yeah, there's a lot.
Nice, cool. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my listed questions. So I have the question, how accessible or helpful do you guys find advising? Snow?
I kind of only go before registration to make sure that my upcoming class schedules fit like my grad plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really go otherwise.
that's okay. No, I do the same thing. But Shine, what about you?
I'm sorry, could you say the question again?
Oh, it was just about like the advising office, both like in major and pre-major. What do you guys think about it, and like, how accessible do you think it is?
Yeah, so the math advising, when it's in person, the drop-ins are there's usually a line for drop-ins, and they have a lot of advisors you don't like have a dedicated advisor you can ask to see when you're drop-in, and so it wasn't particularly helpful for me. I did not see any advisors pre-major. I just did all the requirements and then asked the advising office via email, and the advising office as a whole is really helpful, but just not drop-ins.
Thank you. Izzy, do you have any takes on it?
Yeah, so I'm in OMAD, which is the Office of Minority and Affairs, and
Oh.
they have specific advising for students in that too, and you get assigned to your own advisor. They typically like to meet with you before every quarter starts, so you can make sure your schedule's all good. And if you just have any questions, like they're really helpful with helping you get comfortable in the university. And I have a psychology and linguistics advisors, and they're usually pretty available and accessible. And just like if you have any questions about your credits or you want to get enrolled into research or whatnot, they're very patient with explaining and helping like change your courses in order to like satisfy requirements if they may count for certain credits. So I definitely recommend to reach out. And if you are in OMAD, I definitely recommend to have an advisor there too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cool. Next up, I have a question here, which is a bit related, but did you find any campus tutoring resources helpful, like Clue or the Old Writing Center, or Chem, Math, Stats, or Bio Study Center, or anything like that? Snow?
Yeah, I actually went to the Old Writing Center a few times. It was only for my English classes when I had to do writing. And then also when I was signing up for internships and needed to like edit my cover letters. Yeah, that's it.
They're helpful. They like edit papers and stuff with you, which is nice. Cool. Shine, what about you?
For me, well, I've been to the Clue Center, and for upper level math classes, that's not super helpful because yeah. But generally you can get that kind of help actually in the math lounge. It's usually filled with graduate students, and so that like they usually know what you're asking about. And so to me, that's more useful than the like dedicated study centers. If you're doing something like calculus, the Clue and math study centers are really nice.
Cool, thank you. Cool. And Izzy, what about you?
So freshman year, I found the Instruction Center, which is across from the Ethnic Cultural Center, and there they have like reviews, and after class they have like practice tests, and yeah, just really like extensive review sessions and private tutoring. So that's really helpful, as well as Clue.
Cool, thank you. And FYI to everyone in the YouTube chat, we do have 5 more minutes, so send in your last questions now if you have any. In the meantime, I will ask a question here, which are, what are your favorite spots, both like on campus or off campus, to study or eat or just to hang out? Snow?
I really like the Suslo Harry Potter library. It's the quiet library on the second floor. Yeah, I really usually go there if I want to study by myself because I really like the vibe there. And then I would just go to Ode to study with friends because it gets kind of loud in Ode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Cool, thank you. Shine?
I generally don't study on campus. I generally don't spend a lot of time on campus in general. Outside of the math lounge, nothing really.
Thank you. And Izzy, what about you?
So I study a lot in the dorm halls, like the study area in Willow, and gosh, where McMahon used to have the 8, and then it's gone now, but
Oh,
there's
rip, yeah.
comfy chairs, right? Let's see, coffee shops just on the Ave, the second floor of Ode. And I kind of, oh yeah, Suslo, the classic Harry Potter room. Like, I just got to treat myself and study in there every now and then and remind myself, like, this is where I go to school. I got to use the space.
I should do that too, yeah.
Right,
Plus it's
yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. And the Suslo coffee shop, Starbucks. Yeah. I like to challenge myself and like study in random places around the school to get to know it better.
Nice, cool. All right. Thank you so much. I think that's all we have time for this panel. But thank you so much, panelists, for answering our questions. I'll have a next panel at 2:50 p.m. And we'll have a CS master student, a neuroscience major, and an accounting major. So if you're interested in that, stick around and tune in then. But for now, we'll close this panel. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third student Q&A panel of the day at UW Minecraft Dub Days. Thank you all for coming. I am Esme or Naru, and I'll be moderating this panel. I'd like you all to please send me any questions you have for the panelists to the chat in the YouTube stream that's happening right now. I'll send that into the link to that into the Minecraft chat right now. So go ahead and click on that and send questions you have to the panelists in there. Right now, though, I will have our panelists introduce themselves, starting furthest from me over there with Savannah or Oof.
Hi there, I'm Savannah or Oof. I am a master's student in computer science, and I did my undergrad also at UW, where I studied computer science as well as informatics, where I did a concentration in human-computer interaction, and I was also part of the interdisciplinary honors program.
Perfect, thank you. And Chris, go ahead.
Hi there, I'm Chris. I'm going to be a senior as a neuroscience major, and I'm also minoring in music. And I can answer any question related to research because I've been involved in research for like the past couple years now, as well as like getting involved with RSOs on campus. And yeah.
Cool, thank you so much. And finally, we have Bean.
Hello, I'm Bean or Amy. I'm a senior and my major is in accounting. So if you have any questions about Foster or the classes, I can answer those.
Perfect, thank you. All right, first up, I have a question for you all, pretty general. So why did you guys decide to come to the UW? And we'll go in the same order, so I'll start with Savannah.
Yeah, so I chose to come to UW because I wanted to have the option to live at home if I needed to, and so I actually did commute for a couple of quarters, and yeah, I just really liked how UW was really close by, and I could see my family really often. I also think UW is great because it's such a big school with so many different opportunities that I think everyone's bound to find something that they like here.
Definitely, yeah, thank you. Chris, what about you?
I came to UW for a few reasons. The main reason was because of the neuroscience they have here, because UW is one of like the leading institutes in neuroscience research in the nation, and they have a lot of good programs and labs regarding that. And so I really wanted to come here because of that. But also I'm an in-state student, and so a lot of my friends came up here, and it was a nice balance because it's a few hours away from home. So I have like independence and I can like be by myself, but also it's like if I ever need to go back home for any reason, I can. And then also because UW is so big, it would afford me like a nice chance to challenge myself because there's so many different students that like you can really find like a lot of good opportunities and like push yourself as much as you can coming here.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, Bean, why did you come to UW?
I was from Texas, and one of the main reasons I came to UW is just that I want to get out of Texas. And I really like Seattle and the campus. And also, I was a direct admin for Foster, which was something that I really liked.
Perfect, thank you. My next question is, what are some things that you love about UW, and are there any things that you dislike? Savannah?
Yeah, so I guess as I mentioned before, I really like how UW has a lot of different opportunities. And I guess I also really enjoy the variety of classes that you can take in like different departments and stuff. I think that also, as was mentioned before, like UW is really good for getting involved in research, and I think also being in the Seattle area, especially for tech, UW has a lot of connections with companies in the tech industry, which I also really enjoy. And I also do really like the Seattle area because I also grew up here. In terms of things that I don't like, I guess like it can be kind of overwhelming sometimes. with like just how big the school is, and it can be easy to kind of feel lost in like your big lectures, but there are definitely ways to get around that. And I guess another thing that probably has been said by panelists before is like the competitive major system. I think is like kind of unfortunate because not
Yeah.
everybody can kind of study the things that they want to. So yeah, I guess those are like a couple of things that I would change.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And Chris, what about you?
I know a lot of people have said this already, but I really do love the campus at UW Seattle. And my freshman year, I spent a lot of time just like walking around campus and like seeing all the nooks and crannies and checking out all the buildings because I just think the place it's really fun to walk around. And it's just really beautiful. And also, I love the Pacific Northwest in general. So I love all the rain and all the weather that you get up in Seattle. Um, but it's like a love-hate relationship that I have with the size of UW because I really love just how many opportunities and different people you can meet at UW and all the things that you can do. But at the same time, like was previously said, it can get kind of overwhelming. And also, since there's so many other people, it can be hard to like it can be pretty competitive at times, especially with some of the majors where there's a lot of other people that are in the same position as you and they're trying to get the same spot in the major as you are, so that can get really stressful at times. But overall, like I think UW is a really good school. It has a lot of good classes, a lot of good programs, and I think it's really good, especially since it's in the Seattle area, that you can have a lot of new experiences that you might not usually, because I come from like a little suburban town. So being able to go to downtown Seattle is a lot of fun as well.
I bet. Yeah, cool. Thank you. And finally, Bean, what about you?
Yeah, like a lot of people said before, I really like the campus. It gets really pretty in spring when like the flowers are blooming. And the professors are all really nice, or the professors I've had. But what I don't like is the competitive major system as well. The curved GPA sometimes just really pits students against each other, which is pretty yikes. But later on in the course, as you take like harder classes, the curved GPA system tries to work in your favor. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Cool. All right. My next question is, do you have any tips for incoming freshmen on how to survive a quarter online? What about you?
Okay, so I guess this is kind of like I'd have to look at this question in two ways because my freshman quarter, I think like everyone else's, was not online.
Yeah.
So I guess in terms of like your first quarter, I would say don't be super ambitious with like the classes you can take. I think like coming from high school, you're kind of used to taking a lot of classes, so you think that like maybe 3 classes isn't that much. But it actually can be really overwhelming and like the workload is kind of like a huge spike from high school. I would also say try to like really like go to the RSO fair. Like I did that my first quarter and really explored a lot. I think that yeah, just like kind of exploring a lot as early as possible I would recommend, just because there's so much to be involved with at UW. And you're bound to kind of get more focused once you enter your major. So I would say really take the opportunity to do a lot of different things before you kind of become narrowed. And I guess in terms of online, so I'm also like not super experienced with online classes, but I think like really prevent yourself from multitasking because I think that you can kind of slip really easily if you kind of like, oh, I can still listen while like being on my phone or something. Like that can just kind of spiral downhill really easily. And I think like a good way to also stay focused is to kind of keep your camera on to hold yourself accountable. So yeah, those are just a couple things I could think of, but I'll be learning myself too.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. Chris, what about you?
So I've only like in terms of online classes, I took some classes over the summer and then spring quarter was all online as well. And so some of the stuff I say is definitely like do as I say, not as I do, because I know from experience what you shouldn't do. And so I think the big thing for incoming freshmen is that, at least for me, like it's really hard to stay motivated. Like when everything went online, like my motivation to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get all this done just tanked. And so I would put everything off until the last minute because it's like, oh, it's all pre-recorded lectures. It's not going to be too bad.
Done that.
But I highly recommend you don't do that. And
Do not.
so, yeah, you definitely want to keep like a detailed planner or a calendar or something where you write down all the assignments or lectures that you might need to watch. And so try to do stuff every single day. Like this applies to just like in-person classes as well, but especially online because they might add like some stuff that previously weren't assignments now are assignments. So it's like now they might have questions that you have to answer when watching a lecture, and you want to make sure you don't forget to do that, and a bunch of other stuff. So it's just really good to like keep a detailed planner just so you know what is due and when you need to do it, and do stuff every single day. And then just a small little thing that at least has helped me stay motivated is to wear nice clothes, even if you're not going outside. Because it can be really easy to just be like, oh, all my classes are online. I don't need to leave the apartment at all. So I might just like stay in pajamas or sweats all days. But honestly, like putting on just like a nice outfit as if you were going outside can like kind of change your headspace. And like at least for me, it helps me focus a bit more because then uh it kind of gets rid of like the laziness, like the little haze that might come with just being in pajamas all the time. So like just make sure you take care of yourself as well. Like, you know, take showers, drink a lot of water, like open a window, a bunch of other stuff. Like do what you can to like keep yourself motivated, because I think that's the real big factor with online courses.
It's all really solid advice. Thank you. I'm gonna like watch this back and write that down. Thank you. Cool. And then finally, Bean, what about you?
Yeah, for me, when I was a freshman, I was really used to like messing around and not really paying attention in high school and getting away with it. But that didn't really fly in college, so don't do that. Definitely like pay attention in lecture and like time management so you do your work, a little bit of your work every day, and just like don't pile everything up the night before it's due, because I've done that before and it did not work out for me. In terms of online classes, I think it's pretty good that it gives you this flexibility, so you can watch recordings when you feel like you're the most productive. That's what I do because I'm most productive at like 9 p.m. So I just watch the lectures then, and it's super helpful for me. And I think you need to do a bit of work every day to develop this habit, or you'll just get kind of unmotivated as the quarter goes on. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I actually have a question from the YouTube chat, which is a bit similar, but more general. Do you guys have any general tips for studying? Savannah?
I think definitely form study groups. Because I know like some people study groups aren't for everyone because sometimes some people like get distracted when they work with others, but I think that I found study groups really helpful because also like your classmates can practice explaining concepts to you and you can practice explaining concepts to your classmates, and that helps you learn it better. And you're also kind of holding each other accountable and like really dedicating time to work on your homework. And I've just found like study groups being like helping me be way more efficient and productive with my assignments.
Thank you. Chris, what about you?
I definitely agree with the study groups thing because you can either like sometimes other people might know more than you do, so they can help you in that aspect, and then other times if you're explaining something to someone else, that can like really help cement the knowledge in your mind. But I know that like forming study groups can be harder, especially like as a new freshman and with everything online. And so I think the thing that was like the real key for me when getting used to college was just finding what worked for me for studying, because there are definitely like things that you can do that are more productive than others. Because I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep just like rereading a textbook or like reading certain chapters in a textbook, and then I got to the point where it's like, this isn't really helping me at all. um, and so you need to find what works for you and what can help like cement everything in your mind. I highly recommend, if any of your classes put out like problem sets or like practice exams or anything else, and there's a lot of other like study programs like Clue on campus and the OMAD. They have a lot of like past exams and like practice problems and stuff. I highly recommend doing those, especially for STEM classes, because actually applying the knowledge really helps you learn it a lot more than just like regurgitating it and like relearning it over and over. And other stuff that you can do online is just like when, like, say an exam is coming up, is that you can go through your notes and just sort of like rewrite by hand, like what's the most important things from every chapter, or what are the most important topics that you need to know. So it's really just a matter of like giving yourself the time and flexibility to mess around and learn like what works for me, because for some people like working alone might be better, or working in groups might be better. Some people really like flashcards and a bunch of other stuff. But I think the most important thing is like being more proactive with your studying, and not just like rewatching lectures or like rereading the textbook. Like doing more involved work is what really helps me, at least.
Awesome, thank you. And finally, Bean, what about you?
All the advice that they gave was really good, but for me, what really worked for me was that I like to study, like learn the concept alone by myself, and then get together with a group to do like practice problems or try to explain the concepts to each other. Because when you're trying to explain something to someone else, you really like learn more. Or sometimes when you're trying to explain and you don't know why, that's when you know like you don't understand the concept enough. And other than that, I would just say good note taking is also pretty important. So you can like go back and reread stuff when you're near the midterm or final.
Definitely, yeah, teaching others helps a lot too. So thank you. I have another question here from my list for you guys. Kind of switching gears, but what is some of your favorite places on the Ave? Savannah?
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I like most foods. I really enjoy Noodle Nation. I also really like Sizzle and Crunch, Saigon Deli. I haven't been on the Ave in a while, so it's a bit hard to recall. Korean Tofu House, um, the udon place, um, Xi'an Noodle, and Zen Noodle Cafe. Those are the ones that come to my mind right now. Oh, and like the boba places, so like Ding Tea, Yifang, and I think Share Tea is gone now.
Yeah, I don't know if they rebranded or what, but yeah, there's like a different boba place there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. Thank you. Chris, what about you?
Well, the Ave, like, it really does have a lot of good restaurants and places and like stores and places you can eat there. So I highly recommend going there to like check out what they have when you can. Because I remember my freshman year, it's like, oh, I'll just stay on campus and eat on the cafeterias. But the Ave really does have a lot of good food. I highly recommend Chimak, which is like this Korean fried chicken restaurant. And that's my personal go-to. Me and my friends, we always go there like before an exam, just for some comfort food. Um, Memos, it's a bit far up the Ave, but I think it's like one of the few places that's open like 24/7. So if it's like 5 a.m. and like you've been out partying or something, then that'll be a good place to go. Birkin Baguette has a lot of really good breakfast food. BB Teriyaki is one of my absolute favorites. It's a nice comfort food place. And then I think someone else has said this in the past, but Aladdin's That's a classic. I highly recommend the Aladdin fries or their gyros. And then H Mart also has a lot of good stuff if you want to practice like cooking on your own. So those are my recommendations.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I love European Baguette because it's also such a nice place to study, and there's like plants everywhere. It's also a plant shop. It's so cute. I love it. But yeah, thank you. And finally, Bean, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I also really like Sizzle and Crunch. It's pretty close to the library, so I like to go there and grab food and then just walk back to the library to study. And they give you a lot of food, so it's pretty filling. And I also like Misom. Uh, it's just like a place I like to go after studying and eat. They have pretty good boba too, but for actual boba, I would go to D&T.
Thank you. I'll move on to my next question then. This one isn't just about online classes, but more in general. What was it like for you guys being a freshman at the UW? Savannah? Or I guess you didn't, did you do your undergrad at UW? So I guess you had to your first year at
Oh,
UW.
yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yeah, I did
cool.
my
If you
undergrad at
remember.
UW. Yeah, I think so. My first quarter, I did a FIG, and I think that was helpful in like deciding what classes to take. Just because I came in undeclared, so I pretty much didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I think the FIG helped me, by like picking classes for me, and also yeah, like having a group that I kind of took at least 2 classes with, as well as the FIG seminar. And then I also took a freshman seminar every quarter, and I also recommend that. I think it's under general studies, and I think it's like 197 or something like that. But they're just these 1 credit and they're like pass fail seminars on really random stuff. And they were really interesting and kind of yeah, like expand your horizons, I guess, in terms of what things are available to study. Well, I guess like my winter quarter, I remember actually I think that was when my grades like really tanked. And I think I was still trying to kind of get used to college and also winter. I don't know, I feel like there's like something about winter, it's just like it's kind of like my least favorite quarter.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably like weather related. And then yeah, I mean like spring quarter is pretty good. So yeah, I guess those are just a few freshman year sort of things. I guess also I was in the dorms. I don't know how many people are going to be in the dorms this year, but that was also a big part of my freshman experience.
Definitely, yeah. Cool, thank you. Chris, what about you?
For me, freshman year was like super exciting, but also honestly like really overwhelming just because UW is so big. Like there's so much you can do. So at first it's like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get used to this? But honestly, like after a while, you start getting in the groove and feeling things out. But I recommend uh, for like freshman year, I really went out of my way to like experience as much as I could, or at least like do things to get to learn the campus more. Like I would like walk around and check out all the buildings, and like all the possible study areas that I could go to. And then also being a freshman, it's really good because there isn't too much stress in terms of like majors and being like, oh no, like I have to do this, or like I'm stuck in this course plan now. Like you can really take the time to look around and see like what really interests you. And if you take a class and it ends up being like, oh hey, like I actually really love this topic, I want to take more uh like in this field, like don't be afraid to go, like that's your chance to like go learn more about it. Because I took like this urban design and planning course my freshman year, and I absolutely loved it. And if I could go back and do UW again, I'd probably major and like be an urban design major because I loved it so much. So honestly, freshman year is like it's your time. Like anything from high school that like maybe something you were interested in, but like never really talked to other people about because like other people weren't interested in it, or for whatever other reason, like being at UW, it's your chance to like finally like delve into what you're really interested in, what you really want to do. So like don't be afraid to like go check out new things and try new classes and like look at all the RSOs and like just experience everything. Like don't be stuck in your room all the time. Although it's a bit harder because it's online, but just go get out there and try to experience college as much as possible.
But yeah, thank you. Bean, do you have any advice or memories of freshman year?
My freshman year was pretty unfortunate because I thought I could take a lot of hard classes and like kind of get away with it like in high school. I did not get away with it, so that kind of tanked my GPA. But afterwards, you kind of like find the stuff you need to study and to do well in class. So I guess that went okay academically. Socially, UW is a really huge campus, so it can feel a little lonely sometimes. So I would recommend joining clubs or finding events. For me, I did this case competition and met some pretty fun people. So yeah, just like get out of your comfort zone and find out what you want to do. And I agree with what Chris said about exploring new classes. Like freshman year is definitely the time to find out what you want to do.
Definitely, yeah, thank you. All right, we have about 5 more minutes, but I have one more question from chat. Anyone who feels qualified to answer, just pipe up. The question is, how do you find research on campus?
I've been working in a research lab for like past year and a half, almost 2 years. And I've been like looking for other research labs. So I definitely know about the whole process in terms of finding new labs and getting involved. My first recommendation is that there's a lot of good websites that UW has, especially for each department and major. That if you just look up like UW research, like biology or something like that, or like the like neuroscience like graduate program, they have like whole lists of different research labs, and all of the PIs like gave like little summaries about like what they're doing in the lab. And so it can be stressful to like cold email people, but that's definitely a good chance to just be like, hey, like I'm a new student at UW, I'm really interested in what you're doing like with research, I'd like to get involved. My other big recommendation is get to know your professors. That can be a bit tricky, like I definitely understand, but if you find a professor you really like, or you find a course you really like, talk to your professor, talk to the TAs, get involved with them, and they can put you in connection with other places, and they can be like, oh yeah, like I know someone who's looking for undergrads for research. And the same goes for RSOs. I'm part of the neurobiology club, and the lab that I'm in right now, I actually got into it because another person that was in the club, I overheard him talking about, he's like, oh yeah, my research lab's like, we're really looking for more undergrads. And I asked, like, oh, hey, like, what's the name of your club? What's the name of your research? And then I just emailed the PI and I was like, I am in the neurobiology club. I overheard from one of your current undergraduate researchers that you need some more people, and just get involved that way. Like a lot of times, like the research on campus is really good because they understand that you're still a student, and they want to give you those experiences. So more often than not, they'll definitely be on board for you to come in. And then uh, also, like with any major that you might be considering, with the advisors that they usually have a lot of really good connections in terms of research regarding that major, especially for the neuroscience major. So I would just get involved with your professors, advisors, and look around online. And there's a lot of, don't be afraid to email people, basically. Like, don't be afraid to reach out. And if they don't respond, like give them another email, because more often than not, uh, they might be like, oh, hey, sorry, like I just didn't see your email initially. Like I'd definitely be more than happy to have you aboard. So you just have to put yourself out there, basically.
Awesome, thank you so much. Does anyone else want to chime in on that question?
Yeah, I think like Chris gave a lot of really good advice, and yeah, I agree with the cold emailing thing. Like that's um been like how I found positions. I guess I would also add like if you're interested in something like tech related, the HCDE department has things called directed research groups, and computer science has something a little bit similar too, where you can kind of take a class where you do research, and it's sort of like it's like partial class, partial research, and it's like a very structured um, way to get into research, which I think is like a good introduction if you aren't ready to kind of dive in entirely to like the open-endedness that research is.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, I think that concludes our third panel of today. We'll have one more panel, so last chance to join the panel and ask questions from 325 to 355. We'll have a pre-major with intended computer science engineering and econ, an engineering major, and an informatics major. So stay tuned for that. For now, I'll clear the stage and get ready for the next panel. Thanks, guys. everyone. Thank you for coming. This is our final student Q&A panel of the day. My name is Esme or Naru, and I'll be moderating this panel today. I'd like you all to please send any questions you have for our panelists into the YouTube stream chat, and I will paste the link now into the chat in Minecraft. There it is. In the meantime, I will have our panelists come on now, and I'll have them introduce themselves. So yeah, come on. Yep. Come sit down and yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna start with the panelist furthest from me. So Lucas, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Lucas. I am I guess the guy without a major, and today I aim to give you all some advice and information about how to tackle your first year as someone without a major.
Perfect, thank you. And Eric?
Hi guys, I'm Eric, also known as Drax. I'm an informatics major with a minor in nutrition. I've also played a big role in developing the esports scene at UW, so feel free to ask me any questions about gaming or my majors.
Cool, thank you. And finally, Tim, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Tim, or Manahus. I'm not sure if the username is showing or my real name.
Oh, it's username, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in engineering undeclared, also looking at a fisheries minor. Feel free to ask me anything about navigating the current engineering major system, or just stuff in general, really.
Awesome, thank you. Cool. All right, I'm going to start off with a general question for all of you. Why did you decide to come to the UW? And we'll go in the same order. So, Lucas, what about you?
All right. So for me, I guess it's a mix of factors. Well, the first one is I think UW is a pretty decent school, especially for what I want to do because I'm intended to do a major in computing, but also because I conveniently got rejected from every single other program I applied to. So if you're in the same boat, I think I can give quite a bit of stuff regarding that because it's very interesting how that works.
Cool, thank you. What about you?
Yeah, so originally I really wanted to go to a large school, good sports program, just kind of get a new experience from what it was like in high school. I was very interested in computer science at the time, and UW has a great computer science program. And I was also in Southern California, and I really wanted to leave that region but stay on the West Coast. So UW kind of had it all.
Cool, thank you. And Tim, why'd you come to UW?
I came to UW because I was looking for a suburban university with engineering and oceanography. So that shortened the list pretty significantly right off the bat. So,
Nice.
and then I ended up at UW just because I came on campus and I just felt really comfortable. It didn't feel like I was completely out of my element. So, yeah, it was just a mix of things.
Cool, okay, thanks. All right, my second question is, what are some things that you like about UW? And are there any things that you dislike about it? Lucas?
All right, so some things I like about UW, it's I think the campus is pretty nice looking. You know, we got a nice mix of greens and concrete on the campus, and I think that despite the fact that like Seattle's rainy weather is something that people like to make fun of, I think it can be quite chill to have a rain sometimes. And I would say that the sort of thing is, despite like the way everything is, as in like I'm gonna get into more into detail about this later. As in like, despite the fact that some majors are kind of broken, like despite all that, I think everyone is still trying to be supportive. Like no one's intentionally trying to do bad stuff, basically. So like what I'm basically saying is, even if everyone is sad, everyone will still try to help you.
That's sweet, cool. Thank you. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, so I think the one aspect that I like the most about UW is the RSO system. I think it's very undermined and under advertised. many students here just come to the school and don't really take advantage of the opportunities here. And the great thing about the RSO system is you have opportunities to network, you have opportunities to get involved, meet people, and it really gives you some practical experience outside of the classroom that you can use in your professional career. I guess I also love the temperature as well. It's not too hot or too cold. And I guess the thing that I dislike is that it's a commuter school. I understand the benefits of that, though. At the same time, it's less of a community feeling when everyone's just coming for classes and then living somewhere else. I've really been trying to push more of a community on campus, which it's something definitely worth improving.
Definitely, yeah. And if you guys are interested in RSOs, go to our virtual Red Square, and there's a ton there that you can talk to. Yeah. For now, Tim, what are some things that you like or dislike about UW?
What I really like is that there's more options in terms of what degree you can take. And for a lot of degrees, there's flexibility in which direction you can take it. Compared to some of the other schools I was looking at, their engineering department had like 3 majors, and you're slotted into one of those majors at the start, and it's really hard to switch. Whereas coming into the engineering undeclared system, or just honestly, the pre-major system at UW overall, there's opportunities to go into different majors if you change your mind sometime in your freshman year or even sophomore year. Though that is a little bit of a double-edged sword, though, because then you have some majors that a lot of people want to get into, and the whole application process can get a little bit crowded.
Definitely, yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you. My next question here is, do you guys have any tips for incoming freshmen and how to survive an online quarter? What about you, Lucas?
All right, so I think I'm gonna begin with something that's a bit specific to the situation that we're in right now, which is the whole online thing. All right, so the first thing I would like to say is, I think, I mean, despite the fact that like we're trying to be optimistic about things, I do believe that for freshmen coming in, to this all online situation, I think that one of the best things that they can do is try to like, I don't want to say be more social, but for like okay, for example, like last year when I came here, a lot of times, right, I just met now some pretty important people in my life. Like I basically just met them, like it was like after a info session, for example, everyone just hangs around and talks about how hard it is to get into CS, and then you make friends that way, right? But now everything's online, so it's kind of hard to do that, right? Like people don't usually linger in Zoom calls, really. And then usually when they do linger is to talk to the other people. Like you wouldn't find someone standing at like an edge of like a room after like an info session. So what I'm trying to say is really just talk to people, just kind of reach out and talk to people. And then if you're in a Zoom call, be like, hey, we're interested in the same thing. Let's just go ahead and talk about stuff. So yeah, that's my take. Like very important thing about this current situation.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Even though it's harder to socialize, we just have to adapt and stuff. So yeah, cool. Thank you. What do you think, Eric? What do you some advice you have?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about having online school is how easy it is to just kind of not go to class or fall behind. My biggest suggestion is come to class, come when the class is happening. Don't like say you're gonna watch the class later, because a lot of the time you probably won't. It's important to keep to a schedule and stay on that schedule. Especially because it's just so easy to fall behind. I actually did fall behind spring quarter, and I think the key is to be communicating, actively communicating with your professors, so they know what's going on, and so they can help work with you to catch up and to succeed in your classes.
Awesome, cool, thank you. And Tim, what do you think?
So I think the biggest thing that has helped me deal with online classes is get outside in between your classes. find a chance to just get up, walk around the block, walk around. What I was doing, I would go like a 15-minute walk during a break between classes, because for at least the first half of spring quarter, I was basically just spending 12 hours a day sitting in my parents' attic.
Yeah,
And
no, that's solid.
you don't realize how much you really depend on having that 5-10 minute break in between classes where you're walking from one building to another, or even just one room to another. You really need to put something in between that breaks up the time and experience of each class.
Definitely, yeah, that's smart. Like simulate the experience of like what it used to be like to walk to classes. Smart, cool, thanks. I now have a question here from the YouTube chat, which is asking, in your guys' opinion, what are the best study spots on campus? Lucas?
On campus?
Well, could be off campus too, but yeah, they asked on campus, but honestly,
are they just referring to when things get back to like normal, or?
I guess so, yeah.
Well, I mean, on campus, I feel like, I mean, it depends on what kind of learner you are, really. Because for me, like I think I spend most of my time studying my dorm, because I would have like 10 piles of paper around my desk that I know exactly what pile does what, so I can just reach out from underneath myself and get paper. And also, I have a fridge, so I can have snacks in my own room. But again, that's just me, right? Like, I'm not that big of a library person, because if I have to go to the library, I have to bring everything I might need to the library, and for me, that's a lot of things to bring. So this is speaking from someone who likes to study in their dorm. But in regards to resources, I think the Odegaard Writing Center is pretty nice. The Clue Center is also pretty nice, and yeah, really, I think that's the two I can probably give.
Definitely, yeah, thank you. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I think there are 3 key spots that I generally like to hang around in. The first one, I guess this one's more dependent on where my classes are, but Mary Gates common area. The reason why, I mean, it's really loud in there, but there's a lot of tables, and I think the best part about it is it's the only Starbucks. There's a cafe in the back that has Starbucks. It's the only one probably on campus that has no line. So if you really want to get Starbucks, that's the place to go. The next place I would say is the main floor of the hub. You know, there's some really comfortable chairs in there that I like to hang around in when I have, say, like 30 minutes before or in between classes. It's just kind of a nice, comfortable place where you can get some quick work done. And the last place, probably my favorite place, is the 3rd floor of the Allen Library, like on the bridge. There's some like chairs you can sit in, and more importantly, there's like desks where you can charge your computer, you can turn on a light, and it's generally very quiet in there. So it's really nice to be working in there.
Oh, nice. I never tried that place, but now you've given away your secret study spot, so we'll see. But yeah, Tim, do you have any favorite places?
I think for me, I mean, I get distracted really easily, so one of the best study places for me is to find an empty study room, either in the dorms, or sometimes you can find an empty one in the libraries. Because you get in there, there's at most 1 or 2 other people, and they're focused on their own thing, so there's not a lot to get off task on.
Definitely, yeah, okay. Cool, thank you. I have another question from the YouTube chat from Fairnox, also related to locations. But this one's more general. So they said, one of the best things about going to UW is its location in Seattle. So according to you guys, what are some spots you would recommend us to go once COVID restrictions are lifted in Seattle? Lucas?
Yes, I think in regards to that, okay, so first of all, I think by the time the COVID restriction is lifted, I think the Northgate, what is it? Link Light Rail? Yeah, that subway thing, like that extension is gonna be completed. So going north is actually gonna be quite a bit easier of like when campus does get out. But yeah, so towards the north, you have like, I guess, you have like malls and restaurants, I think. Yeah, towards the north. And then towards the south, it's just Seattle downtown, which is, well, I don't think I have to explain what's going on there, but Seattle downtown is pretty sweet place. And also, I think if you go towards the west, aka the ocean, there are like parks along the lines of that you can potentially have a great time at. I haven't went to the west myself, but I have been to the north and south. And I think that yeah, like if you feel like going somewhere to eat, you can go north. If you feel like walking around downtown for some reason, you can go south. I've done both, so I guess that will probably be the first two things I would do.
Definitely, yeah, okay, thank you, yeah. And also, if you're looking for somewhere in the West, like a park or at the beach, Golden Gardens Park is a good place. It's a beach on Puget Sound near Ballard, and it's a really nice place to watch like the sunrise or the sunset, or like go hiking in the forest nearby. Yeah. What about you, Eric? Do you have any like suggestions for places in Seattle?
Yeah. I was actually gonna say Golden Gardens as well.
Oh, sorry.
No problem there. But so some other places I would highly recommend is Alki Beach. Probably the nicest. I'd say the nicest waterfront in the city. Great place to bring a first date. But another place I'd highly recommend. This is actually in the UW campus. Is spring and summer. You should try out the Cut. It's basically the body of water connecting Lake Washington to Lake Union. It's very popular in the summertime, especially. Just fun to kind of hang out with your friends, jump in water, and then boats will periodically throw beer at you. So great place to go, great place to check out. Yeah.
What's that, like the Montlake Cut, you mean?
Yes, the Montlake Cut.
Nice, cool, thanks. And Tim, do you have any recommendations?
So I spent a lot of time going down to the International District, especially there's a Japanese market there that's so good.
Owajimaya?
Yeah, Owajimaya.
Love it.
And the boba in the area and the restaurants, love it. Absolutely.
Definitely.
And then also, if you're really into card games, board games, tabletop games, there's a place in Ballard called Mock's Boarding House. I spent way too much time there.
Nice, I never heard of it. Cool. Check it out. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of really nice places in Seattle. I keep a list. I know no one asked me, but I keep a list of like nice cafes. There's Ada's Technical Books and Cafe in Capitol Hill. It's like a science-based bookstore cafe. There's a really chic like plant shop / cafe in U Village called Mr. West Cafe. I don't know. Message me if you want like a list of cafes in Seattle because I have a lot. But yeah. For now, I will move on to our list of questions. I think this will be the last question for the panel today. Or no, we have time for like 2 more questions. Yeah. But yeah, I would ask, what does a typical day or week look like for all of you as a student at the UW? Lucas?
Actually, before that, can I like for the next question? Can I talk a bit about the major system? Because
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
Before I'll answer this one first.
You mean for the no, it's okay. The one for advising, we can skip to that one.
Like right now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, because I feel like it's kind of important. Because me myself, like I said, I applied to a major, but they pushed me out into pre-major, and I think that's very common for the freshmen of UW. Like a majority of freshmen will be pre-majors, probably not by choice. So I guess one of the first thing you're gonna notice is a lot of people is just like pretty stressed, right? Like a lot of people are stressed and stuff about that because they can't get a major and all that. I'm pretty sure the previous panelists have already talked about it. And I think a couple of things I would like to elaborate on is one. I think Quantum in the very first session he talked about how like it's the grades and also the you as a person. But I think one of the most important thing to keep in mind is that because the competitive major system is really not in a very nice spot. Like even if you got even if you got everything checked out, there's still a pretty good chance that you'll be rejected, unfortunately. And I would say it's something that if you look at like Reddit rants, it's something that a lot of people like just get really stressed over. And I've talked to many faculty members personally, and I would like to say they're pretty stressed about it too. Like no one is happy in this entire loop. And I think one of the most important advice I would give is to not fall into what I would call the obsession with the 4.0, which I see a lot of people doing. Is trying to just link, like there are so many times, not just at UW, there's so many times I just hear people go like, oh my god, I don't have a 4.0 GPO. No. And then I just want to tell them, just calm down, bro. Like GPO can't hurt you no more. So yeah, just sort of go a bit chill on that. Like I know everybody's kind of sad, but just like how do I say this? I know I'm going on a bit long, but it's just there's
No,
a
it's
lot
okay,
of
it's okay.
discovery. There's a lot of discovery that needs to be had. Like for example, like there's this quote that's what is it? Like you don't need a computing degree to do a job in computing. Yeah, that's technically true, but it's not as real as it's made to be. It's made to sound. And yeah, I would say that if you are a pre-major wanting to do a competitive major, I think in your first year you're gonna go through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of discovery, and I'll just say be mentally prepared. It's gonna be a very interesting year for you. As in the next year, you're gonna look back and be like, I learned a lot. So that's what I would like to say.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's a good insight on like the competitive major system here and how complicated it can be. But yeah, thank you. In the meantime, we have time for like one more question, so we can go back to if you guys like, what does a typical day or week look like for you, and just like tell me about your daily schedules and stuff, if you don't mind. Yeah. Do you want to go again, Lucas, or should I?
Let the other panelists go first. I think that's better.
Okay. Eric, what about you? What's your
Yeah.
like daily schedule look like?
So my daily schedule is very interesting because last year I was officer for 3 different clubs.
Wow.
And so I mean I was the VP, president, and esports coordinator of them. So I was really busy. For classes, I would wake up, have breakfast, go to class, come back, have lunch, then I would go to the IMA for like 2 hours, come back, finish my classes, and then I would usually have around 2 to 3 meetings a day. And then afterwards, I would just socialize with my friends. So yeah, I was pretty busy back in college, or last year, I should say.
I bet. Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you. What about you, Tim?
So I ended up having mostly afternoon classes for the past several quarters. So I'm usually not getting out of bed till like 9 or 10. Then
That's pretty early still.
well, coming from high school, it was a
Oh yeah,
bit of an
definitely,
adjustment. So get up, go to my one pre-lunch class. I'd usually spend my lunch working on homework for either the class that I just had or something that afternoon sometimes. Go to the rest of my classes, and then I mean it wasn't anything particularly special. It was just go to class, eat dinner, spend a couple hours on homework, then mess around on video games for 2 hours.
That's an accomplishment for me if I can keep it to 2 hours. So kudos. But yeah, nice. Thank you. All right, Lucas, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so I think because I guess for my freshman year I have well, like it's constantly changing really, because like I met some people and then we kind of co-founded a club, and then we're just trying to like build that. But other than that, it's yeah, usually like I know that the highest amount of credits you can take without paying extra is 18, but doing that will require you to have 3 usually 5 credit courses and 1 3 credit course. So I think I was leaning more on the safe side of not destroying but like more on the safe side of like 3 or 5 credit courses. So how it would usually work is like yeah, like I will have like courses. Usually my courses are like 9:30 or 10:30. And I will like wake up at 9 and then just go to my morning class, come back, do stuff, do work, eat lunch, and then I will go to my afternoon class. And then I mean, I sort of manage it in a way that the three afternoon classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like I will go and then I will go to the IMA and then I will come back and do more work. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, I think that the moral here really is how do I say this? Like don't take 18 credits just because you feel like you want to take 18 credits or like you might be wasting the money of C credits. And this is also true, I think, for like major applications. I think like they don't necessarily want to see students like take a lot of courses and then ended up like tanking themselves. But then again, I think the other important thing is with everything online, if you subtract all the time it takes to walk between classes, that's actually a lot of time. So
Definitely, yeah.
it depends, right? So yeah, I think whatever floats anyone's boat, that just happened to float my boat. So
Cool. All right. Nice. Thank you. And I think that concludes our final panel for today. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for tuning in. This will be posted on the UW Minecraft YouTube channel later if you'd like to come back and watch it or show it to your friends if they have any questions that might have been answered today. But for now, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the panelists. And I'll end it here. Cool.